list, both sides you have listings, and this will say Mountain View Community this way with the other.
The corner is directing you. How many more times do you have to be told where it is?
What's the committee, the committee would like to have a sign out here at the corner?
We feel fine, I think we feel fine either way. I mean, I don't know how Bob feels, but I.
No, I think if you shoot down the sign at the end of the driveway, I think people are still gonna be able to find the building.
Yeah, and that's $1,835.
We'll shoot down the sign.
Okay. Moving right along. Bob, would you like to speak to waste management?
Yeah, I did earlier, actually.
Okay.
The question was brought up and I informed them we're still waiting for Primex.
And the trucks?
The truck, we didn't get to speak on it last week, but the truck has been returned from the repair shop. The lift gate was in better shape than I thought it was. They were able to do a few tweaks to it, and I was able to come in with all the repairs that I needed on that under $1,000. Came out to $994. But I got an inspection sticker, lube oil and filter, the lift gate was repaired, and they found a wheel bearing that needed to be changed.
I would strongly suggest that you talk with Will, and I see no reason why that vehicle can't be maintained in our garage as far as oil changes and so forth. Okay.
None whatsoever.
Okay.
And how about purchasing gasoline? We have a credit card at the nursing home for purchasing gasoline.
I would check with Will also, because we have a tank out there that has gasoline
Okay.
and diesel.
Is that currently just for the jail?
It's
and
for the jail, might be some use by the sheriff's department, but not a major supplier for the sheriff's department.
Okay.
I think the jail uses it, right? And how do you keep track of that? You write down the number of gallons you use?
Yes, sir. And then Joe submits that to Will.
Okay. So
So I would do the same.
yeah.
And the elevator?
I spoke on that earlier too. It's
Okay.
being inspected today.
Good. Okay, telephone. Obviously, we have a person with, we signed a contract with Teletechniques as well in regard to our phones, but now we have to look at the carrier. We have Fairpoint service right now. The contract expires December of 2012. That provides us 6 copper lines. The copper lines, the calls come into the nursing home or directly to the fax machine. And then if a call has to be diverted, then it has to be diverted by a human person unless we're on night call and it goes to another office. And that's 6 copper lines. What we're proposing is that we have a hybrid system, meaning that we have copper lines as well as some SIP trunks. And the reason we're talking about that is that we have limitations with our copper lines as far as coming in. We're paying $27 and change for each line that comes in, and we're charged 4 cents for a minute for non-local calls. For when you're living in a rural area, our local calls are limited. Okay. With a hybrid system, we would still be using the Fairpoint copper lines, and we've spoken with a representative from Fairpoint, and we're still negotiating price point for the remainder of the contract. But what we would like to add is SIP trunks, and that's essentially a product of voice over the internet service. What would that give us? It would give us a defined price per month per trunk or per line. It would also give us, if we, which I'm asking, an additional $20 so we can have up to 100 extensions on that. So if Commissioner Sorensen wanted to speak with Bob, he would not be going through we would have direct inward dial, which to different areas. Not for everyone, but for a lot of the department heads. The biggest point is, I think there are 2 big points. One is that we will pretty much always know what our bill is going to be. You know, we still will have the Fairpoint lines, but the bay ring or the SIP trunks will be a main outward use.
And that would be coming through, at this point in time, Time Warner.
Well, it's carried by Time Warner,
Right.
but it's provided by another
Bills.
entity. The Bay Ring
Bay ring will bill for that,
will bill for it.
yes.
That
So-
allows us to have, we can actually direct where we want these phone calls to come in and go out, just by a matter of switching inside the internal mechanism of the phone. We can still receive all our inbound phone calls over the copper lines, but any phone call that we have going out, we can choose to go over these SIP trunks first. And there's no charge for local or long-distance calling, so like Sandy
But
said.
there is a charge, it's just a.
Well, it's a flat
charge.
rate,
It's a flat rate.
$30 a month.
Right.
And budgetarily, that is huge as far as trying to
Absolutely.
contain costs.
Yeah.
And again, this will keep us within our current budget, and hopefully we're going to be making strides to decreasing it, but having a larger service, the ability to. And again, this does not involve the resident phones, but again, we think that this is the best for the time. Now, technology, and everyone will acknowledge this as you survey the industry, that technology is changing day by day. And again, having a redundant system where we'll have copper lines as well as a connection to the internet will be good, because if one system is down, we have the option of another way out.
Do you know where the 6 copper lines go now?
No one knows.
No one?
No. We have one line that they're researching actually, and actually they're giving us a rebate because
They can't
they
identify
can't
it.
identify it.
They're going to refund us.
Right. It could.
How far back?
We don't.
Don't know yet.
We don't know. So we're hoping to reduce the number of copper lines and giving more oomph to the internet.
And looking forward, the system is easily adaptable to, hopefully, if we get a fiber optic system on campus in the future, this will fit right in without really any major changes.
Okay. Then we have equipment that we have put off in presenting until now for the reasons of, these are necessities. These are issues that we've identified through the construction process and even for the planning process, and it was all part of it. I will talk about the nursing and housekeeping and administration things, and Bob will talk about maintenance. When we talked about planning in the resident rooms, we were going to have millwork in each room, and that was going to identify an areas for precaution products for residents. When the number came in, it was high, and we said, does that make sense to have it in every room? It's a very nice convenience, but we decided no. So we're asking for 6 over-the-door precaution holders, and the price is $328.80.
What's the precaution?
It has an area for masks, it has an area for
Oh, okay.
gloves, and whatever, if a resident should have an infection.
I understand.
Okay. Then moving down to slings, when we were looking at all of the price points for our hoists, you know, all of the contracts, proposed contracts, were saying, okay, and then you can buy all of these slings. We felt as though we needed to hold off to really fine-tune the number of slings that we would need and hopefully reuse or keep in our inventory the ones we already have for our manual products. We're all set with that. We're asking for 4 regular slings, and that would be $383.96. 1 ambulation sling, which would be used in the rehab department, and that's $385.47. And then repositioning slings, 4 of them for $996. They're very costly, a very costly product. They're washed in our washing machine.
And we have none now.
Not of the repositioning slings or the examination slings. We do have some regular slings, and we identified that we needed 3 more in our inventory. Our exam table, which is in my office, it's used, I'm asked to leave when they're going to do pre-employment physicals and what have you. I think it's a circa 1930 or 40. It was our hope that we could refurbish it and recover it, reupholster we cannot. it's cost prohibitive to
You're
take
gonna
it all
auction that
apart.
off
We'll have
as
to.
an antique?
We'll probably do something after the move, okay. But the price of that exam table is $1,578.99. We discussed a wheelchair scale, and that's $1,827.82.
What's that do?
For residents,
Weighs this
we-
person in the wheelchair?
it's just like meat. It's just like when you're buying something at the deli. You put the container first and get is it a tar? And then you put your product in. We measure the wheelchair, and then we measure the resident.
And we don't have one now.
We have one on the first floor, and we knew that for the systems to work efficiently, we would need another one. Also, we needed 2 specimen refrigerators at $149.92. The other areas having to do with clinical areas had to be an automatic external defibrillator at $1,245. We have one downstairs, but if someone should have a cardiac arrest that needs to be have emergency attention immediately, we need to have one up on the second floor. And then we have, to support that, we have an emergency cart with a cover, and that would be all of our resuscitation products, $320.98. And a disaster cart is that if we should have a major disaster, we have all of the triage equipment available on a cart so that we can move it at any area that there's a disaster. And then the last area has 31 common area lamps. This is, again, not a nicety. It's a need to have.
It's a requirement for reading?
It is. Any place that you go, we have lights above and we have sconces on the walls. But if a resident was sitting in a common area, living area, an elevator lobby, reading, or doing fine work, it's actually a regulation that you need to meet those needs.
Wasn't this listed on the sheet that we looked at some weeks ago?
This listing was on a sheet with silk flowers and
Yes.
decorative items.
Right.
All of those have been eliminated, but this we need to have.
Mm-hmm.
And
Something
we had
voted
table,
on that.
no, we
Oh,
had,
table
we had
lamps.
resident room lamps on
Okay,
that
that's
other,
what
on
that was.
that other,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Then we move into the housekeeping areas. We need to have, because of the additional areas in the rooms, we need three additional janitor carts, and that's $659.94. And all those assorted products, the mop bucket, the handles, the mops, whatever, totals $272.75. Because of the household, the numbers of household, we're taking all of our linen carts over, but we need 2 additional ones for $901.98. And then we need additional single hampers. And that means that there will not be any, when you walk down in our area now, you'll see all of these hampers all over the corridors. Other than being a fall risk, it's not a very nice looking presentation. We'll have single hampers that'll be utilized by our staff, and then go into the linen rooms or the dirty utility rooms. So that is a total of $3,004.79. Administration under television budget, and by the way, what we have listed, and I spoke at a conference call with Randy Remick from Bonapage and Stone to understand, first of all, that there was money for these products, because we have proposed them under the budget, and under the first 2 headings, they will be coming under the furniture and equipment budget. The next item was the television budget, and we had allotted $10,000 for 8 household televisions, which are 47-inch TVs, and that comes to a total of $6,399.92, and a 60-inch television at $1,575. For that specific item alone, we were allowed $10,000, and we're under budget on that.
Where are these coming from, being purchased from?
Stu Shannon is, the 60-inch TV is being purchased from that company in in Wolfboro.